Hello my friends, and welcome back to the show that never ends. I'm Rod, your happy hippie, and I'm here to do a video entry to a contest that Black Star Vinyl is having. I'm a little late on this one, but I'm meeting the deadline. Deadline for it I think is August 1st. This is one I've been meaning to do, and I keep putting it off, and I want to jump on it real quick before I totally forget about it. Been drinking a lot of water. I don't know if it's hot where you're at, but it's been in the upper 90s all week here, mid 90s, upper 90s. Very hot, especially when you're on foot. Okay, the contest is pretty basic. He wants us to name 5 singers, 5 bass players, 5 drummers, and 5 guitar players. 5 albums that we have an emotional attachment to, and he wants us to pick a crown color, a new crown color that we would be if we were going to be put in a box of crowns. So, I wonder if it'd be cool if I answered that one first. I'd be tie-dyed. My color would be tie-dye or the rainbow flag, something like that. That would be my color I'd be if I was the new crown in the crown box. Okay, we're going to start with singers. You're putting together a huge band, 5 singers, 5 drummers, 5 guitar players, 5 bass players. Singer, Jerry Garcia, Bob Weir, there's no question. Mick Jagger, Janis Joplin, because you got to represent the ladies. And I'd bring in some Otis Redding to give it some soul. Those 5 singers, I think, are just wonderful. I love them all. I think that's a great blend. Now for bass players, I love the bass. I'm going with Victor Wooten. If you're not familiar with him, he's incredible. He's probably the best living bass player there is today. Arguably the best living bass player alive today, Victor Wooten. If you're not familiar with him, check him out on whatever, YouTube, Spotify, Google him. The guy will blow your mind. Also, on bass, I'm bringing in Nathan East. This guy has played with Eric Clapton and Herbie Hancock and what's his name, Phil Collins, the drummer. Great solo album. Played with Daft Punk. Nathan East would be there. So it's Victor Wooten, Nathan East, Phil Lesh from the Grateful Dead. Gotta have him. Bill Wyman from the Stones, and Paul Chambers would be my 5 bass players. All great bass players. Probably my top 5. I'm not going with necessarily my favorites. I'm just picking 5 just like really solid ones. I'm going to save the guitar for last. Drummer. You know the Grateful Dead has 2 drummers. You got Mickey and they got Bill. Bill holds he holds it, man, together. He's straight up rock and roll. Mickey Hart, he really experiments with a lot of African and Latin rhythm sounds. Both of them are phenomenal. I couldn't pick one without the other. So Mickey and Bill, both from the Grateful Dead, are going in my 5 drummers. You got to have Charlie Watts. If you got Bill Wyman on bass, you need Charlie Watts, man. Phenomenal drummer. Very underrated drummer. And drumming's when it gets hard, man. I'm going to go with Philly Joe Jones. He's a jazz drummer. That's 4. And just to bring some radical rock and roll, rebellious, crazy shit into it, Keith Moon would be my 5 drummers. Guitar, holy moly, this is like a freaking rabbit hole. There are thousands and thousands. But I'm going with Jerry Garcia, lead guitar. Probably bring Bob Weir in on guitar as well. If you got those two, man, I want Willie Nelson strumming that acoustic guitar. Trigger is the name of his guitar. Those three guys, they may not be the world's best, but they're the 3 out of the 5 I'm picking. Also, I'm bringing in Gary Clark Jr. because he's a bad man, probably the best living guitar player today. And 5th one's a tough one. It'd be Johnny Winter. I love Johnny. I miss Johnny. It would be Johnny Winter. Alrighty, now for the singers, there's so many. Did I do singers? I may have. Did I do them all? I'd be damned. Anyway, 5 albums. See what happens when you don't write your shit down? You get lost. You get lost. 5 albums I have an emotional attachment to. It could be anything by the Rolling Stones. So I'm just going to show this box set of CDs. It could be Goat's Head Soup. It could be Start Me Up. The Bigger Bang album. I showed that recently. I love the Stones. Greatest rock and roll band in the world. Tied with #1 for me. Another album I have an emotional attachment to. Kind of, sort of. I mean, if you can't have an emotional attachment to an object. Bob Dylan, Time Out of Mind. I was in radio when this monster blew up. He won several Grammys that night at the Grammys for this album. All of them well deserved. We were all over this album. I mean, we're playing every single frickin' track. Dirt Road Blues, Lovesick, Trying to Get to Heaven Before They Close the Door. You know, Garth Brooks redid that song. Seriously. Garth Brooks redid that song. Great album. Bob Dylan. Another one I have an emotional attachment to, kind of, sort of, if you could, would be Stevie Ray Vaughan. This album came out at a time of my life where I was just finally getting my head out of my ass, finally getting my shit together. Got my freedom back after several months. Living with a friend of mine, and this came out. I remember buying it on cassette, and it was, and he was so good. But yeah, that reminds me of that time of my life where I really made a decision. You're gonna do life on the installment plan. You're gonna fucking die in the fucking streets like a fucking junkie, or you're gonna get your shit together. And this just happened to be called In Step. And he was talking about the steps of the program, AA program. So that I definitely got an attachment to. The Beatles, the first band I ever fell in love with at 12, 13 years old. And I picked my mono copy of Rubber Soul to show you guys. I love the Beatles. Love them, love them. I have brought this one out too, the Beatles. This was a trade I did with Mike, Jam on Vinyl. Fucking fantastic. Mono recordings, the Beatles. I love this album. And I don't play it as much as I want to because I'm always afraid to mess it up. Have you ever done that? You have something nice and you're afraid to use it because you don't want to mess it up. And last but not least, Aerosmith. And the reason I do, because I was like in fucking 5th grade, 6th grade, and my sister had this album. And I thought to myself, damn, what a motley looking fucking crew this is. Look at these guys. That's just straight up rock and roll, dude. That's only album I have by them. Probably the only album I want. I don't know. I love this album though. Sentimental reasons. So there you go. This is a contest for Black Star Vinyl. 5 guitar players, 5 bass players, 5 drummers, 5 singers, and the albums you have an emotional attachment to, and what color crown would you be? Black Star Vinyl just hit, well not just hit, he hit 500 subs, but he's up to like 600 now. Plus it's been like 3 years since he's been in the VC, and he wanted to have a contest. It's a great channel. I like Black Star Vinyl. A lot of great channels out there now. The VC is growing and growing like weeds. Guys, be good to each other. Take care of yourself. Take care of the ones you love. Peace.